Hey YouTube, we are taking a little drive, and I have my daughter Ellie in the car with me. Say hi, Ellie.
Hey.
And what this is going to be is a FSDBeta version 10.1 reaction cam. So we got about a few minute drive here, and we will try to engage FSD. As you see right now, it's not available. As soon as it becomes available, I will engage it, and we'll do a little bit of a route here off the highway and see how FSDBeta does. It's going to be kind of no highway. It's going to be a little bit of a suburban street kind of a scenario here. Interesting, I'm at the stop sign. I just rebooted the car because I was having a little bit of an issue with my capture camera, and the capture camera was a little bit blurry, so I rebooted the car. But I guess as a byproduct of that, my FSD is not showing available yet. I can't engage it because it's not showing available. Oh, I see what it is. I had my wrong profile selected. So those of you that might get FSDBeta pretty soon, having separate profiles with and without FSDBeta is actually an option. To perhaps have someone in the family that doesn't want FSDBeta be able to drive it without FSD. Alright, it needs to wait. And it went way out. Just showing you how far out we are on the screen there. It's, I don't know, Ellie, would you say we're out further than you would go if you drove?
Yeah, I think I'd kind of be more to the right versus straight out.
Okay, and there's a car letting me go. He waved, so I'm tapping the accelerator to go, and I had to disengage because it wasn't going by tapping the accelerator. Okay, so I'm back out in the lane and re-engaging there. So you can look at the tentacle here on the screen, and you can see it knows it needs to get over, but I think it's going to figure out very quickly that it can't. It has a ways to go. It's got its blinker on, but look, oh, the car behind us, the truck behind us waited, and it went all the way over, and it's going through a yellow arrow. Whoa, whoa.
Oh gosh.
It was legal, but it was kind of ugly. I don't know. That was a pretty aggressive maneuver.
Can you imagine what other people were thinking? What are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I went over 3 lanes of traffic and then went through a yellow turn signal. Okay, well, welcome to FSDBeta. So a few people, I'll just take this opportunity on this straight road to make a comment. A few people have asked me some questions about my comments about this software not ready for a wide release, and why I think I'm special and over anybody that gets a high safety score. And I just want to be very clear. I'm not special. I'm not any sort of extra good tester. My point in saying that this software isn't ready for wide release is not to exclude anyone that is an amazing driver. It's a numbers game. Right now we're at about 50 public testers and about 2,000 total testers, including internal ADAS drivers. If we go 1,000 a day, starting next Friday, we will exponentially increase the number of people driving this software that, in my opinion, gives a lot of opportunity for accidents. So those of you that are amazing drivers, I'm sure, and even those of you that aren't amazing drivers, I'm sure there's a lot of people that won't get in accidents. I'm just saying it's a numbers game. Hopefully that explains my situation there. I think the best thing everybody can do right now is just try to improve their scores by driving safely so that they are added and the safety system and the safety scoring system will work. But enough on that. What do you think on that braking distance, Ellie? Does it feel natural?
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
All right, going through the intersection here. It just went yellow, and it went through it. Would you have gone through that yellow?
I don't know. We were kind of close to the line. We weren't going so fast, so it could have stopped. But I mean, it just turned yellow, so it could have gone either way.
What about the fact there's a police car behind us?
Oh, no. But I mean, it wasn't straight turning red, so
yeah.
He went through it too.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe he's watching me and thinks something's up.
Probably.
So anyway, we're in an interesting situation here where I do have a police car behind me to where if it is doing a little bit of swerviness, I probably need to be careful and not let it do too much of that. Okay, it looks like he's turning off here at this light anyway. Changed lanes there. The car that was coming out of that intersection decided to wait because we had our blinker on, so that was a good situation where the blinker actually did its job by indicating what we were doing. Sometimes we get crazy blinkers, Ellie, and see, why do you think it changed lanes? And now it changed back. Obviously, I think it probably changed back because the traffic was going a little bit slower in that middle lane, but sometimes it does that. Tap on that supercharger there, that number 6. Okay, and hit the navigate button. Yep. Okay, we just had, because we don't have waypoints, I had to kind of create a little bit of an alternate way to get to the destination where I was trying to drive to. We actually have a new supercharger up in this part of town, and I've never been there, so I just chose that as the particular destination here. Does that feel aggressive to you?
A little bit, but I mean, I guess it was kind of a sudden stop.
Yeah, the truck in front of us stopped, and the car behind us, I couldn't even see his headlights when he fully stopped, so it obviously got pretty close.
Everyone's trying to go to Whataburger for lunch. Is it lunchtime? Kinda.
Another yellow light there. What do you think about that?
Did you take control or no?
No, it's still driving.
Oh.
You see how it jumped into the lane and then it jumped back over?
Yeah.
A little indecisive there.
Speedy turn.
You think that was too speedy? Too much?
Well, it was just kind of like a jolt kind of at the peak of the turn.
Yeah, they call that boost. They've added a little boost onto some of those turns. And sometimes it feels like it's too much. That felt like didn't feel natural.
I think since it was such a sharp turn, it was a little bit much on the boost, but it's okay.
Yeah. On the right side here, it's mapping pretty well a bike lane that's got a solid white line, and occasionally you'll see the paint marked with a bike symbol, I think. Yep, there it is. So it looks like it's mapping visually the bike symbol appropriately. Right. Pretty straightforward intersection here. Looks like it's going to be a protected left with a green arrow when it changes. Alright, green arrow, still not showing green arrows on the screen. Okay, it needs to take this turn a little bit wide for this car.
It was okay. It was okay.
Why did you make that noise? What was it? What did you think it was doing?
Just, there was a car in the turn lane to go the other way, and I was worried it was going to get a little close, but I just overreacted.
Okay. Were you worried because you knew the car was driving, or because the car actually went too close, you think?
I don't know, actually. I mean, I guess it could kind of go either way, but...
I mean, if I had been driving and it made that turn without FSD on, you think you would have reacted that way?
I mean, I haven't driven with you in a long time, so has your driving gotten worse since FSD?
Sorry about that. Looks like the GoPro stopped for a second. Sorry about that. Both cameras kind of stopped because I used that magic keyword that I've talked about in some videos in the past. I need to get better at not using that keyword. Alright, we're going straight through this intersection. This is a little bit of a weird intersection, isn't it? If you look straight ahead, the right lane is separated by those tiny, like some tiny little skinny posts, and on the screen it's actually identified as a cone. That's interesting. The cone kind of comes in and out. This is definitely an interesting intersection.
Yeah, that guy just hopped the curb to go around us.
Oh, interesting. So we are in the right lane. We're in the correct lane. He just didn't want to wait, so he hopped the curb, but he was in a big pickup truck. So this is a scenario that I think it's going to handle okay, but I bet there's a little bit of uncertainty here. There's a median it needs to map, and there's that tiny, skinny little cone. What do you think?
Oh, that was fine.
Okay. A little close to those cones for me, but it's only because I know sometimes I don't think it can see those little skinny pilings. This lane here in the middle, I've done some videos on these before. Sometimes you call these suicide lanes because they're basically dual directional turn lanes. You know, you kind of get in the middle lane to take a left or a right, depending on the direction you're coming. And it can create interesting scenarios for a car that doesn't have mapping data because there isn't a mapped intersection location. You basically just have to get in that lane at the appropriate distance to make the turn you're trying to make. It's done pretty well with them before, but I know that they don't have these type of lanes in every part of the country, so I think it's one of those road features that having map data from around the country would be helpful. This is also one of those long straightaways where I feel like I'm being the obnoxious safe driver going the speed limit on a road that's long and straight. There are about 5 cars piled up behind me. I don't know if you can see them. The rear view camera makes them look further away than they are. I feel like traffic on this road would be going at least 45. I'm actually just going to bump it up a little bit to try not to be too obnoxious.
One of them turned.
Okay. Interesting braking there. Did you feel it brake just then?
A little bit. It was soft.
But I wonder what it was for. There's no reason to brake there. We call that phantom braking sometimes when we can't see the reason that it's braking. Now maybe the car saw something and it broke, used the brakes to slow down, but sometimes those taps. So what that would have looked like to the car behind us is the brake lights would have come on, and they'd have probably been like, "What are you doing?"
Why?
Yeah, so the way the car behaves with this software version is a little bit of blending into the traffic. Random blinker signals are kind of obnoxious. Brakes at the inappropriate time can be confusing. People think you might be turning, but you're not. So I think what we're seeing right now is pretty typical of how FSD behaves. On straightaways with no traffic interactions, you wouldn't know who was driving. I mean, it's solid. It doesn't have to interact with anyone. It doesn't have to decide how to handle situations, with interactions. And I think that is the core function in the software that's improving. It sees everything that we're seeing right now, and its trajectory or its tentacle is rock solid. I mean, a couple of all the interactions you've kind of been curious about were all at intersections or turns or something like that. All right, we do have to cross a double white line to get into this turn lane. And it did it at the right time without having any cars to worry about. So it did that just right. This is a right turn on red, must yield to U-turn. Now, I don't think I've ever seen that, so I'm going to snapshot that before. That's a unique one. So I guess the cars up ahead can make U-turns, and we need to yield to them, is what it's saying. But the car does not look like it wants to go right now. It's waiting. I have cars behind me. It's green, so I just waited on the green in that one. All right, it's pulling in. Very slowly here. Whoa, what do you think?
Taking our sweet time on a Friday.
Okay, it stopped. So I tapped the accelerator there just to kind of, there was a car behind me. I couldn't really let it go. So I don't know why it was waiting to go into that intersection. But anyway, we're at the brand new Chafee Road, Jacksonville, Florida Supercharger, just to check this one out. But Ellie, as we wrap up, well, 0 to 10, what are you going to give FSD on that pretty simple drive?
1 being what?
Bad.
Oh. I mean, pretty close to a 10, like a 9 or a 10. I mean, it did pretty good, maybe an 8. There were a few parts where maybe a few things came close, or weird braking, or like that last turn, but I think overall there weren't a ton of cars on the road at the end, so I would say it did pretty good.
Would you think that people watching us or behind us would have been like confused as to what we were doing? Do you think the car acts like a human?
I think at that one intersection in the beginning, when it was making that left turn with a bunch of cars around and it made it on the yellow, that was kind of finicky because it kind of like did a weird kind of path. I think that might have been a thing, but other than that, I feel like it did pretty well.
Yeah, I think it did pretty good too. That one turn, while it was completely legal and over aggressive, it was more than I would have done as a human, unless I was, in a real bind. Accidents can happen in that situations if there's cars that aren't yielding as well as others. It wasn't very defensive driving, I guess is what I'm saying there. The other ones were, we didn't have a whole lot of traffic intersections. They were pretty straightforward stoplights, so I think it did a pretty good job. All right, well, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Ellie, for doing this.
Of course, thanks for having me.
It was fun. We'll do it again sometime. All right, guys, have a great day. Leave comments below. Let me know what you think.